It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your feel-good start to your Tuesday morning. As always, we cast a spotlight on youth sports. And this morning, we take a look at new advancements on the sidelines of sport. Now, I think for parents and for spectators alike, there is nothing worse or as nerve-wracking as watching children participate in an extremely physical game like rugby. I know my mom went through agony watching me play, but much like sports around the world, rugby in our schools is getting a safety revamp as reaching everyone involved in the game. They really are making some incredible advancements. Take a look.
Rugby is one of the country's most popular sports, with children beginning to play a form of the game as early as 8 years old. As the sport becomes more professional at school level, so too is the prevention of serious injury in children.
The spectrum of injuries in rugby mirrors those of many other contact and collision sports, and most of those are not serious injuries. The ones that concern us most are head and neck injuries, because their necks are immature, their musculature is less developed, and because the brain is developing and more vulnerable to injury. And hence the focus in terms of prevention of these injuries, identification of the injuries and management of head and neck injuries is focused largely on youth rugby, both in South Africa and internationally.
Over the last decade, South Africa has introduced several educational programs to assist in the prevention of injuries. The Sports Concussion South Africa initiative seeks to educate children, parents and teachers about identification and management of concussions.
BoxSmart is South African Rugby's injury intervention program aimed at addressing every aspect of conditioning, preparation for and participation in rugby. And that covers a spectrum of issues right from training for every position on the rugby field through to nutrition, the use of supplements and the dangers of drug abuse in sport, right through to the serious injuries such as concussion and neck injury.
At under 19 level, rugby in the biggest schools in the country is taken quite seriously. With biokineticists, physiotherapists and doctors all part of the first team setup, players are well educated on how to avoid injuring themselves or opponents intentionally.
From an early age here, the coaches try to teach you how to tackle and how to clean and how to scrum, so you can prevent yourself from hurting yourself and other players. You play against other players to prevent hurting them, like the same way you don't want to let them hurt you, so you play in the rules and play safe.
Strengthening and conditioning your body is very important here at SACS. We have a full strength and conditioning program run by Steve McIntyre, who runs it from the end of one season to the start of the next season. That's from September to early March, and then the season actually kicks off. So our boys are fully prepared for contact when it's needed.
Of the big rugby schools, SACS has been seen to have one of the better programs when it comes to injury prevention and identification. The school has even gone so far as to test players for illegal supplements for the safety of their children and opponents.
All coaches at schoolboy level and club level and all referees have to attend the BoxSmart course. At that course, you go through training on correct tackle technique, correct scrumming technique, what to do in the event of a spinal injury, a neck injury, etc. We've got first aid at every single practice. We have first aid plus emergency services here on Saturdays. Because schoolboy rugby has become almost semi-professional in some ways at the big boys' schools, safety has had to step up as well to make sure that when injuries do happen, people are looked after properly.
I think keeping calm and understanding where you are on the rugby field is very important. Also, lots of people are watching and you don't want to ruin your reputation. You need to think about what you do before you actually do it, because those certain actions can cause extreme consequences. So I think be very careful what you do and don't get ahead of yourself on the rugby field.
Being the contact sport that it is, injuries in rugby are inevitable. But with the proper education, they can be limited and managed correctly so as to allow children to carry on being children and having fun.
Awesome stuff. I think one thing we want to do as a nation is to ensure the safety of all our school kids, regardless of where they're from. Now, if your school doesn't have the resources of a SACS or Hafiz or a school like that, but would like to improve the safety of the boys at your school, or girls for that matter, contact BoxSmart on 021 928 7000 or boxsmart.coza. And they'll assist you with any and all information regarding injuries in rugby. And they can help facilitate the necessary education of the parents or teachers in charge of rugby at your school. It is a necessity, not a nice to have. So do make contact with them. Well, a huge amount coming up on your Tuesday morning. We're going to make it really feel good after the break. We'll see you now.